Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I salute every one of you guys. Thank you. You're gonna get me emotional. I haven't even started yet. No, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for sharing this afternoon with me. Obviously, veterans are very important to my family and to our country. And you guys are doubling down because you're also business owners, which is something absolutely fantastic. It's brave, those who dare win, right? Now, coming into today, I was like, okay, how am I gonna be able to share with you guys in an effective way so that you can get something out of this? I'm an employee, so not a business owner, and I'm not a veteran. Thank you for your service, by the way. But there is something that I do have that I think is gonna help you guys out. You've had an amazing event here today, and there's a lot of information. And when that information is gleaned, written down, you're gonna take that back to your companies, to your people, to your customers, and to your market. And when it comes to communication, that is something that I think I can help you guys out with. So if you'll be so kind, just follow me through this. I'm gonna give you a little background on me real quick, and then we'll get into all the details. So let's just see if my clicker's working. Maybe, oh, it is working, okay. That is my beautiful family right there. We are from Texas. We live up in Idaho these days. I work in the operating room doing a very specialized procedure that I'll go into a little bit later. That's what it looks like when it goes perfectly. And that's me putting a heart valve together right there. And then I'm also a little bit of a crazy guy, which is how I ended up on Survivor. So real quick, raise your hands. Who here has watched Survivor in the past? Wow, okay, that's amazing. And that's fantastic. Okay, I have a quick 101 for the few hands that weren't there. So Survivor is a game where they take 18 strangers, they drop them on an island with no supplies, they make sure that you are agitated in every way possible, and then they film it to see how you communicate and how you are able to handle yourself when you haven't eaten in days, when you've got bug bites on your bug bites, thirsty, all those things. It's a great show. What's really special about Survivor is how flat it is, meaning everybody's a fan, and once in a while, a fan gets to play on the game, which is unique because, I'll never be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, although they might need me. But I could be on Survivor again. So that's what's really amazing about the whole thing. And when every season starts, you never know who's gonna rise, who's gonna win. But what it is it's a game of attrition where they divide you into 3 different tribes, and those tribes compete for supplies, meaning, a machete, a flint, a cast iron pot, whatever. And then while they're competing, when those tribes compete, one tribe will lose, that tribe gets nothing, and then the kicker is you've got to go then to tribal council and vote off one of your own members, which is very unpleasant. And then at the end of the game, all those people that got voted out have to vote for the winner. So if you do somebody dirty, they'll remember it. And I'm happy to say that in the game of Survivor that I played, season 43, I got to the very end of the show without one single vote against me, and I got 7 out of 8 votes for me. So that was a decent run. Somehow I communicated that okay. So without further ado, let me just tell you a little bit about what I do for my day job, and that is TAVR, which is transcatheter aortic valve replacement. And that's me with a heart valve. That's what it looks like up close. You've got four valves in your heart, and we mostly work in the aortic and mitral valve, but that's actually what it looks like. And that little shag carpet on the bottom is what seals in the valve. So the way this procedure works is the patient is kind of awake, and we'll poke the femoral artery, run a series of catheters and wires up the iliac aorta, cross the stenotic aortic valve. We'll rapid pace the heart for about 10 seconds while we expand a balloon, expanding that valve and crushing the diseased native one to the wall. Magic stuff. Hopefully by the time I need one of these, it comes in a beer, but it's pretty minimally invasive right now, which is great. And that's what That's what we've been doing. It's a lot like Star Wars. You got to get everything just right in these cases. It takes a lot of workups, a lot of special expertise. And again, that's kind of what it looks like at the end when it works great. There's no leak, there's your aorta, and there's that new valve sitting pretty in the aortic position. Absolutely incredible. Now, my background, I've had an interesting career, and I was blessed to work in the Texas Medical Center with some of the world's best doctors when these procedures were being pioneered. And I did my undergraduate at Stephen F. Austin State University, Axiom Jacks, and then I did most of my postgraduate overseas because a lot of these procedures and things were not FDA approved at the time. So I had to go to Australia, Vancouver, and then France to learn all of these therapies before we brought them back. I've had about a 25-year career with this and helped a lot of people, which, you know, as every one of you guys know, a life of service is a life of success. And what you guys have done for our country and what you continue to do for your communities is very admirable to make our world a better place. On my team, on a heart team, you've got me and my team of people. You've got cardiologists, you've got surgeons, you've got anesthesiologists, you've got nurses, techs, all kinds of folks. And I mention all that because every one of these people has an ego. Surgeons might have too, but they all have an ego. They all have their own life filter and what they've gone through, and they all are, you know, performing under pressure, which is a unique situation, and every operating room is different. So in order to be successful for the patients, we must be very effective in our communication. And just gonna kind of run through a little bit. Yes, I'm an expert cat herder. This is kind of what a heart program is like. Let's see here. Go. Aha. So this is basically what it looks like when we launch a program. We get everybody together. This is one in Anchorage, Alaska. We have lots of meetings. We do some training on cadaver hearts and some animal models. Then we do some simulation. That is not a patient. We do some practicing in the OR. And then we have more meetings. And at the end of the day, and yes, that is an actual case, that was at the VA hospital in Houston, the Michael E. DeBakey VA hospital in Houston, the very first VA in the United States that performed TAVR. And I'm very proud to have been able to launch that program. Me and my team have launched more heart programs in the United States than anybody else, and we have fantastic results that we stand by, which is what we do every day because it all matters about patients and, you know, somebody that's submitting in their time of need. It's a very sacred duty. So when we're talking about strategic positioning, I'm talking about this from a communication standpoint. I'm going to talk about this from your people, your employees first, and then I'm going to go through and talk about customers. I'm going to talk about your market and things like that. And what this little quote here at the bottom, it's all about why you say it, how you say it, when you say it, and who you're saying it to. Anytime I'm having a critical conversation, I think it's very important to kind of dissect. If it's really important, it's worth the pre-plan to have that conversation. Whether it's a customer, an employee that's doing great, an employee that's struggling, a manufacturer, whatever it is. Figure out what you want to say and say it as best you can. That will save you, as my dad used to say, you know, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's true. Instead of sending out a quick email or a quick text or something like that, really think about your message. Spend time crafting it. It may save you 10 other emails. So when it comes to people, and you can see there's everybody that they just awarded me the title of Sole Survivor and gave me $1 million. And notice, they're all smiling. That is what you want to do. Is when you're going to be leading people. You want to be people, you want them to understand your mission. You want them to understand and feel a part of that success. And that was something that when the final came down, I wanted to make sure that this wasn't just something that I was doing. It was season 43. Because all those people were special to me. I couldn't have got to the end without them, and they all played their role. So I think, you know, knowing that people are the key to success is very important because all of us work with people. And trust is the currency of every relationship, and relationships grow at the speed of trust. So in order to gain trust and gain a relationship, whether it's with a customer, a partner, an employee, a vendor, whatever it is, you're gonna have to build that trust. So how do you build trust? You show you care. So this is a little clip from the show. There were lots of these situations where it gets cold at night, even in the jungle, it gets cold. So I would go and cut down a palm branch, knock all the ants off of it, make sure it was good, and I would cover my people out there. Yes, we were competing against each other, but we're also helping each other throughout the whole journey. And nobody knows more about that than you guys with your military service. So I don't need to spend any time on that, but I think by showing you care, eventually, the more you care, the more you show you care, they will begin to trust you and your efforts, and eventually they will reciprocate and they will begin to care about you. And that is when the magic happens. That is when friendships bloom beyond the work relationship. And in my life, working in the OR with a lot of doctors and everybody, we are personal friends outside of work as well, because we're so close in that room under those stresses. So I think that's something that's if you guys have a customer that you can't quite get to, figure out a way to show. And like, how do I show I care? I show up every day fully prepared. I've looked at the films. I've looked at the patient charts. Me and my team are ready. And we may be talking about, the Cowboys or something like that in the middle of the case, but then if the surgeon looks over at me and asks me, hey, how long is this catheter? I'm like, it's 137 centimeters, sir. What are you concerned about this coronary? No, ma'am, looks good to me. So I think being prepared and being respectful is one of the things that help me show that I care. And then, of course, delivering great outcomes for your customers. In my case, it's the heart team. Building a winning team. Everybody works with people, and you guys are the head of your organizations. You guys are the owners of your businesses. Amazing. Those who dare win, and I think being aware of those opportunities and to be able to take chances and to bet on yourself, that's awesome. Now, to get a team to go with you and bet on you and your mission, that is another thing entirely. And that's where your leadership has to come into play. And as you know from the military, you lead by example. You lead from the front. There's no job on my team that I do not do. I do inventory. I do everything because everything's important, and I do it as best I can. My signature is my quality. It's my brand, and that is something that you guys have as well. So when you're building your teams, it's so important for them to understand your mission, and we'll talk a little bit more about that too. This is my team's motto. Nothing groundbreaking here, but this is how I set my culture in my team. This is how we set our culture. This is what we do. And we work hard, we care about each other, we trust each other, we learn from each other, we are humble, we communicate carefully and constantly. We improve every day in all ways. We don't waste time wondering about doing too much. We spend time doing our best. And I had to put that one in there because I had some team members on my team that were like, well, I've done two all nights at the hospital this week, and so-and-so has only done one. Not a winning culture right there. You need to, don't worry about doing too much. Worry about doing your best, and everything will work itself out. And I think that's an important one. We are ourselves. I'm a weird guy. You just saw me. I've got a lot of tattoos. I'm not probably what you'd expect when you're getting rolled into surgery, but trust me, you want to see me there. And then we have fun. We have a lot of fun because at the end of the day, life is short. Life is now. You got to live it. This isn't a dry run. This is the real deal. So be sure you're having fun at what you do, and that will really permeate throughout the team as well. Care, communicate, and compete. So by showing you care about your folks and communicating carefully, just like I'm assuming, because I've never done this, but like whenever in the military, before you go on a mission or a deployment, you care about each other, you communicate carefully, and then you execute. And those teams that do those things are successful. Same in the operating room with me. This is an interesting one. Never admire quietly. When I see something that I like with one of my teammates, like somebody reads a film and goes the extra mile, and add some three-dimensional imaging there, showing the distance between the sinotubular junction or whatever it is that's important. I notice that, and I tell them. I say, Katie, I really appreciate that extra detail. That's gonna make a difference in this case. You're very talented. I appreciate that. That kind of thing, because it's important to do those things and to acknowledge when you see something being done right, because you build heroes, you build examples within your team. And everybody's got egos, right? And sometimes people have fragile egos. And those people need different types of leadership to bring them out and to feel more secure so that they can be their best. And that is something that you, as the business owners, as the absolute leaders, have to do to be successful. And then, the other part on this, let's see here, there we go. Like I said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. There's nothing worse than having a teammate come to you and say, hey, I'm moving on. I'm changing, I'm leaving, and it's like my superstar, right? And I'm like, well, why? Well, it comes down to usually appreciation, a little bit of, and to tell somebody on their exit how fantastic they are. Well, it's better late than never, but what a shame. Because if you might have told them that, 6 months beforehand, a year, or tell them that consistently, they not only will feel empowered and appreciated, but they'll feel more productive. They'll feel at home. And money is not everything. I'll tell you that. Money's not everything. It's important, but it's not everything. So by creating that culture, and it also, by the way, it will multiply, because when you start giving real compliments, by the way, no BS, but real compliments. And I do not give false compliments. If somebody does a good job, they hear about it from me. If they don't, they hear about that too. And I think that what's important is by telling them this, you will then set your team in motion, because then you'll watch your teammates saying positive things about other teammates, and it goes from there. That's part of that magic. This is a more strategic positioning here is why. You're all started businesses. They're all different businesses out here. Why did you start that? At core, what is your mission? All of your employees need to know that. All of your employees need to be on that page with you. So that when, like in my group, we do the 3 Ps. Patient, practice, program. If it works for the patient, it works for the practice, it works for the program, that works for me. If I put it in any other order, we fail. We fail the patient, we fail the practice, we fail the program if I'm doing it for me. I think that's very important for you guys to come up with your own 3 Ps so that you guys have that mission and you also review it on occasion. Let's see here. Nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm. Thank you, Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's true. When you're talking about your mission, when you're talking about your why, there's a reason why you started a business, why you invested your money and your time and your life in these businesses. Make sure that excitement, whatever excited you to do that, whatever spurs you every morning to get going, your employees know. They should all understand where you're coming from every single day. My people know that too. And we have a team motto that says, our patients and our customers depend upon us, we depend on each other. And I think that that's something that is useful because it's our North Star. It helps guide us through uncertainty when we're working 3 nights in a row at the hospital and don't even come home. Why are we doing this? Patient practice program, rock it out. Answering the why, let's see here. Well, we just talked about that a little bit. Self-discipline starts with clarity, and that's what I'm trying to get at. And, without the deep reason, even your goals can stray. People can get sloppy. You don't want to have that happen. And then I think it's important to reset. If it was me and my business, I reset, every day, right? Because it's everything. I mean, this is what you do. But I reset with my team at least once a week. Every Friday I put out our schedule. I have highlights in it. I have things that need to be done. And sometimes I'll put a patient story in there. Keeps our mission Everybody understands what we're doing. And I'll even highlight a great story about somebody that drove all night or took a red eye with no sleep and took care of Mrs. Jones. And then here's a picture of her with her family in post-op, and she went home 2 days later. Amazing. That's the kind of stuff that you can't buy, that kind of motivation, because it's real and it's earned. And if you do that, your organizations will take it to another level. Let's see here. Once in a while, you'll find somebody that's putting a torch out there. You know, if somebody doesn't get on board with your mission, they don't understand your why. And oftentimes it's somebody that has a lot of industry experience that they're looked up to. But if you cannot get them to understand your mission, which I believe most people you can, but if you can't, you gotta know when to say when on that stuff too. And sometimes that's not easy to do. It's never easy to do. But it's something that will help you. And if you've got somebody that's holding people down, you've got to be decisive in your action. Your customer. Communicating directly with your customer is an interesting point there. And I'm going to talk about something here that I think is a lost art. And that is, your customer has to understand, you have to understand your customer's why as well. Whenever you're trying to sell your products or your services to your customer, what is important to them? What are their 3 Ps? I mean, honestly. And if you're close with them, take them to lunch and get to know them a little bit and say, like, what's driving you? This is actually a great time of year. Right now, we're getting ready to start 25. I would go meet with your top customers in the back half of this year. You got like 6 weeks, 8 weeks left. And I would sit down with them and say, look, it's been a great year. Thank you so much for your partnership. What are your goals for 2025 and how can we help you? How can we help you get to that next level? I mean, that's a question that is an honest question. It shows you care and you build trust. And if they trust you enough to answer that, you have another opportunity to possibly grow your business as well. This is our patience practice program. And that's my customer's why. So even though a surgeon or a cardiologist, I need to know what makes them tick. That's what's important to them. So those aren't just my 3 Ps, it's theirs. And it's even better when you can share the same goals. My mission is their mission. They know that. They can call me anytime. I have a 25-hour cell. It's at the bottom of my email, which is kind of funny. I put that on there as a joke, and it's kind of become my trademark. But you can call me anytime, talk about a patient, and we'll get it done. So those are our 3 Ps. It's also my customer's 3 Ps. And I always like to say too, when like that was a 500 case milestone right there, and they're like thanking me for me and my team for what we've done, and I'm just like, your success is my success. I'm here for you. I believe in your mission. This is what we do, and I appreciate you and your partnership and allowing us to be a part of your team and part of your success. And that's why I've got some really great partners. Also, customer service. In 2024, that is a big deal. It's gonna be the biggest thing in 2025. There's a lot of business growth coming this year. There's stimuluses coming from the government. Governor Abbott's done an amazing job. We've got some good stuff going on in Texas here. Customer service is some low-hanging fruit. And the reason why that is helpful is when your customer service people, whether it's salespeople or your actual customer service people, when they have a good attitude, when they have enthusiasm, and they have empathy for your customer, that is a way to build trust. That is a way to strengthen your ties. And it's easier to retain a customer than to lose one and try to find another one. So by having good customer service, you have a leg up, because if something is looking like they're looking to make a shift, you'll know about it because they will give you hints or they'll tell you directly. Communication and listening, you're all very busy people. You're super busy people. You're veterans, you're family people, you've got businesses. Take time to listen. Sometimes when we get tired, too much coffee, we talk, and sometimes we need to listen. So try to do a little bit more of that. And by listening to customer service, you'll also, and your sales folks, you will understand opportunities, which will make you more agile and more able to maybe expand your business, to be able to sell more of what you do Maybe even find other opportunities that you didn't have in 24 that you'll have in 25. And then, cross and upselling. Upselling can be a bad word, but it's not if it makes sense. So if you truly know your customer, if you truly know your customer well, and you have something that they need, tell them, explain it to them, and never mention a feature without a benefit. So like, on my heart valve, we have that shag carpet around the bottom of it. Neat. What does that do? That prevents paravalvular leak, so you don't have a leaky valve. Okay, I get why that's important to me now. So if you have a feature, make sure you always put a benefit with it for your customer, because otherwise they don't understand it. People are not afraid of paying money for value. It's up to us to communicate the value of what we sell to our customers so that they understand it. I don't mind buying a nice pair of cowboy boots. These are more expensive than other cowboy boots I have in my closet. But I know that they're black, they're shiny, they look good with a suit, and I'm happy to wear these. And they're comfortable. Lucchese comes right out of the box. It's a great brand. It works awesome. They 3 times more expensive than some of my other boots, but that's fine. I only have one of these, but that's the kind of thing that I don't mind paying for value. And nobody here does. So if you as a business owner can help your team communicate value, you will sell more of your goods or services, for sure. And I always love it when I run into a salesperson. I do a lot of outdoor adventure stuff, and I'll be looking at some equipment, and I love it when the person comes over there, a knowledgeable person, and people can see through BS, but when somebody's like, hey, I just did a 5-day, 50-mile hike across Alaska, this is the pack I used, and this is why. Thank you, I appreciate all this. Let me, what else do you know? And they're like, well, this is a water purification thing that I really like. These are some socks that I wore. I end up with a bunch of things. Now, am I happy? Yes, because I got all the stuff. And especially if I'm going elk hunting, carrying a 40-pound pack running around the mountains, I'm thanking that guy or gal that helped me out getting that equipment. It was an upsell, but I want that. That's an expertise. Sales gets a bad word sometimes, a bad name, because, you're like, oh, you're a sales guy. A salesperson should be nothing more than a problem solver. And if you can figure out what the problem is that your customer's facing and solve it, you're a partner. And that's really important. Okay, let's see here. Okay, improve satisfaction, increase loyalty. Let's see, here we go. And we already talked about all those things. You can't solve their problems unless you understand what their problems are. Never assume communication has occurred. The message sent is not always the message received. So that is why clarity and brevity are very important, especially in this modern day when we send so much stuff via text message and email. It's so easy to write an email or a text and have it misunderstood. It happens all the time, but it can cost you money. It can cost you time, which is also money. I like to do, whenever I'm asking questions or I'm having a critical conversation with a surgeon about a case plan that I'm putting together, I will pause occasionally and I'm just like, does that make sense? And I'm not being condescending at all, I'm very respectful. I'm like, did what I say, did that make sense? Does it make sense that we're using a 26 valve instead of a 23 valve because of this, that, and the other? These are check-in points to make sure that your communication is hitting its mark. And those are just a couple of examples. Before I close, I like to ask them, did that answer your question? Did that solve your problem? Is that what you need? Is there anything else that you need? And by able to do that, it's almost like closing the door. It's almost like the doorknob test. Before I leave an office or somewhere where I've been presenting, before I touch that doorknob, did we get everything done here that we needed to do today? I like to be brief and gone when I have meetings, because I'm a busy guy and my surgeons are busy women and men, and I like to be able to get in and out of their hair, and they respect that too. Communicating value. These are things that I think, again, going back to buying something expensive. It's expensive on the ticket, but is it really expensive? My dad used to always say, beware the high price of paying too little, because you just might get what you paid for. And a big discount, say if you've got a competitor that's offering a lot less money than you're charging for your service or your goods, really, What is a big discount? Why are they offering 30% off? I mean, a big discount is nothing more than an upfront apology for a poor performing product or service. And if you're like, this is my value, this is what I will bring, and if you buy the best, you'll get our partnership, you'll get the best outcomes for your patient's practice program here. My heart valve does cost the most. It costs the most by a decent shot. But we're the world leader in this for a reason. It's because we are able to communicate value effectively. Strategic marketing. So all of you guys and gals started a business for a reason. And there's lots of people probably told you, oh, I don't know if that's gonna work. I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't usually tell a lot of people when I'm gonna do something big, because I know if I wanna do it or not. I'll be the judge. The easiest way to make a mistake is ask everyone. So I think, you guys have taken the guts and put your money where your mouth is and started these businesses. And there's a lot of businesses out there that people are like, oh, there's no way we need another one of those. We got Ben & Jerry's, we've got, Haagen-Dazs. Well, guess what? Bluebell came and conquered. H-E-B, I live in Idaho. I miss H-E-B. H-E-B is like a food museum. I can't believe how amazing H-E-B is. We don't have that up there, and they did it right. They did it better than anybody else. Whataburger. I got 2 Whata chickens last night when I got in because I haven't had one in a while. Buc-ee's. I see Buc-ee's t-shirts all over the country traveling in airports. I mean, who needed another gas station? We did. We all did. That's why we got Buc-ee's. There's like 35 of them now, and they're awesome. So just because you guys are setting a course and you're pioneering something in the industry, hey, there's plenty of examples out there of people that did something better than anybody else. Look at Sam Walton and Kmart. He worked at Kmart for the Kresge Corporation, and then he did Kmart better with Walmart. And now they're around and Kmart's gone. So you got to continue to push hard and follow those dreams. And if it made you decide to go that way, go all in. Now, this is kind of a sobering statistic here. Businesses will basically have their growth, and by the end of 4 years, those businesses are not as successful, right? So you go down here, like 30% of businesses will survive their 10th year. So what happens? Well, I did a lot of research on this. A lot of times it's consistency. People start off with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of gumption, a lot of go get 'em, and then it wanes. And so does your business usually at that time too. So it's important to keep your team motivated, to keep your team on mission, to understand the why every single quarter of every single year. That way you can be one of those people at the end of 10 years and you're still part of that 30%, because that is really a true story about that. If you're not consistent, over time, you will wane, and you can't do that. Strategic positioning, be your best self. Life is short, life is now, and you gotta live it, okay? I've learned in my 54 years, the more me I am, the more successful I am. I'm a strange guy all around. You saw me on the TV show and stuff, but my surgeons and my cardiologists and all the folks that I work with appreciate, I go to work usually wearing a pair of, not these boots, other boots, and like a Motorhead t-shirt, but I've got my stuff down. And we put our scrubs on and all that stuff, but that's who I am. I don't make any errors about it. I'm a pretty simple guy, and that's just the way I think. The more you are, the better you're gonna do in this life. And it all comes to do with your attitude, because the more you are, the more that emits, and it's attractive to have a genuine person around you. I think that's one of the things with people like salespeople, they're just phony. Well, don't be phony, be real. Be real, and your people will find you. It's actually a great way to live. Let's see here, go. Uh-oh, are we going? Okay, there we go. Okay, we talked about service a little bit. That is what, let's see, hold on. Oh, there it is, whoops, back, okay, good. A life well lived is a life of service. I work in the operating room, I take care of the communities that I work in. You guys served our country Again, thank you. And you continue to serve your communities by employing folks, by creating goods and services, and also paying taxes and everything else that you guys do with those businesses. So, it is something that every day should be part of your North Star, waking up on that mission. Your people should feel the enthusiasm that you feel at core when they go to work every day, so that they do their best right alongside you. Yes, indeed. That kid right there was the youngest guy on the show. He was 19 years old. I was 52 when I did Survivor. And that's us. A year later, we were kayaking to that little island way out there off Hawaii, and we camped out there, did some cliff jumping and stuff. So the fact that you can kind of, go through different generations and still become friends with people, there's really no barrier. A lot of times people will ask me, how do you have such a great team, how do you surround yourself with so many great people? I find what's so great in the people around me. And everybody out here, everybody's got a story, everybody's got a background. So, when you think about your employees, really get to know them, and your customers, get to know them. So that, because people buy from people work with people, and the best teams are the most successful people that like each other. Okay, this is one that I love. Doesn't matter how busy you are. You can be the busiest person in the world. You could be Donald Trump right now, okay? He's a busy, busy guy. But even he looks at the mirror twice a day. Once at night when he goes to bed, and once in the morning when he wakes up to brush his teeth. I'm assuming he does that. So what I would say is every night, we all have mirrors, we all do this, I guarantee everybody does this. It's the one time of the day and the night where I take pause. Every night, the mirror is my truth. Was I a good husband today? Was I a good father? Was I a good friend, brother, son? Did I do my best for patience practice program? I look at myself in the mirror. I keep a little sticky pad with notes on it. If there are things I was deficient in that day, maybe I haven't worked out, I haven't done my biannual workout, so I need to do it tomorrow. I only have 2 months to go. So there's some reason why you gotta do something. I will write it on that sticky pad and I'll stick it on that mirror. And I will go to bed free of burden. And in the morning, I'll look at that mirror, and that mirror is my hope. Every night it is your truth. Every morning it is your hope. That day you will live a better day. That day you will improve upon yourself, because we're all flawed humans, but at the end of the day, if we get better every day, that much, we get better. Better is better. Just to kind of wrap up this talk real quick, know your people. Motivate your people. Make sure that they understand the why. Make sure that your customer knows you at heart as a person. Make sure that you know them as a person as well. And then know your market and know yourself. Life is short, life is now, and you gotta live it. That's all I've got, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you so much. If there's any questions or anything, we can talk about that too, but thank you guys so much.